I don't know. What is up, everyone? It's time for the champion. Why aren't you cueing the music? I'm looking like an idiot. Just hit the button and I'll just say it at the same time. It's just, it'll look good. Okay, you ready? It's time for the Champions League semifinals preview. Did we get that? Nail it? We nailed it, yeah? But before I break it down, can we talk about Thibaut Courtois' comments about this real quick, where he said this about the semifinals draw? Everyone knew that it was going to be a Madrid Atletico semifinal because they do not want another final after having had 2 in 3 years. So there are no hot balls. It was luck, but we anticipated it. Quick correction, big man. Not only do you sound like the Count from Sesame Street, dude! They are called warm balls, not hot ones. Also, what is this? We anticipated it. You don't play for Atleti anymore. Anyway, enough goofing around. Let's get after it, starting with the game that Courtois kindly mentioned, Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. So look, it feels like these two clubs play against each other a lot. In Europe, in the Copa del Rey, in the league, you name it. But surprisingly, they've only played against each other twice since last season's Champions League final. The first time was at the Vicente Calderón, with Madrid beating Atleti 3-0, which was a pretty shock result, but given Atleti's current form at that time, which wasn't very good, it's understandable. And the last time was 3 weeks ago at the Bernabeu, whatever you guys want to say, and it was a 1-1 draw, which is more reflective of how Atleti is playing now. So here are the two things that Madrid has to do to win this two-legged affair. One, don't get emotional, because you guys are so much better when you're all business, much like how you performed against Napoli in the round of 16 in this competition, where you dealt with some early adversity. They had scored early, and you could have been fazed by it, but you weren't. You got the results you needed, and you moved on. Unfortunately, you're playing against a familiar opponent this time from Spain, and that makes it much harder, so you need to keep that in check. And I'm looking at you, Sergio Ramos, because your team follows your emotional lead. And two, hope that Gareth Bale stays hurt. And yes, I know that sounds a bit harsh, but with the emergence and current form of Isco, I think you guys are better without trying to push a not 100% Bale into the starting lineup just because his name is Gareth Bale and he costs a whole bunch of money. Plus, a player plays better without uncertainty. So if Isco knows that he's gonna be the guy and that he's starting, I guarantee he'll perform well. And as for Atleti, here are the two things they need to do to become victorious. One, be emotional, because the second leg of this will be the last time that the Vicente Calderón Stadium will ever host a game in Europe, so make it special. Also, as an added bonus for me, Madrid play worse when they're emotional, so make them match your emotion. And two, stay true to your style, which is being tough to break down and then hitting them on the counterattack with one of the best in the business at it, Antoine Griezmann, on the end of things, which I believe is a vulnerability for Madrid at times. However, they're not going to give you too many good looks at goal, so you got to make them count. So my prediction, as much as I feel like it's Atleti's time to beat Madrid in Europe, especially after the disappointment of the last few seasons, every time I count out Madrid and say, oh no, history's against them, there's no way they can do it, they prove me wrong every time. So f it, I'm going with Madrid, and I think they're gonna win 3-2 over 2 legs. And up next, it's Monaco versus Juventus. And let's just call this what it is. The highest scoring team in Europe versus the best goalkeeper of all time. An unstoppable force versus an immovable object. But only one of these can live up to the hype. So if Monaco wanna get to their first Champions League final since 2004, where they unfortunately lost to Jose Mourinho's Porto, they gotta do these two things. One, stay focused. Because after getting smacked around by PSG in the Coup de France 5-0 this week, it feels like they might be running out of a little bit of steam as they near the finish of the season, but maybe that's because they weren't built to compete in multiple competitions, as they hold on to a very slight lead in Ligue 1 over PSG on goal difference, even though they have a game in hand, and as they battle one of the best club teams in all of Europe over 2 legs. And two, this one is not feeding the bear, it's feeding the tiger, El Tigre, aka Radamel Falcao, who is also the captain of the squad. Well, he's been revitalized since his return to his former club, and when his movement and his confidence is good, so is everyone else's on the team. And as for Juve, here's what they need to do to go through. One, show their class, because on paper, they're the better team, especially defensively, where they've only given up 2 goals in 10 Champions League games this season, which is remarkable. And two, get the early lead, which could be hard for some teams to handle, because they're like, oh my god, we scored early, now we have 175 minutes left to go. Let's just play defense the whole time. But after watching them score 2 early goals against Barcelona and then completely control everything afterwards, it's pretty clear that this is a position that they like to be in. So my prediction is, even though I have a soft spot for Monaco this season and the resurgence of Falcao and the play of his very talented younger teammates, and I hope at the very least that they win the French League, I just think that Juve made the most of selling Paul Pogba to strengthen their side to win this exact competition with the signings of very experienced players like Pjanic and Higuain and Dani Alves, and I think that experience is going to be too much for the youthful exuberance of Monaco, and Juve is going to go through 4-2. So that is it, Real Madrid versus Juventus in the Champions League final, according to me. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts, and then smash that like and subscribe button to show your appreciation for the content that we're making on this channel for you. It's the beautiful game from a beautiful face. All right, I'll see you warm ballers tomorrow. Later.